Greetings, Earthlings. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gaming Aroma podcast with me, KDB, your video gaming, rambling show, fueled by coffee. It is Sunday. I did miss a week. I didn't have an episode last week. In my defense, I wrote some bullet points for an episode last week. Sorry, I'm just whacking the mic stand here with my chair. I wrote some bullet points for an episode last week, and I had every intention to record it. But, you know, I got better things to do with my life. I'm just kidding. I think I just didn't have time. The weekend got away from me. There's always something to do. There's always fucking something to do, right? I'm currently on a long weekend. I had Friday off work and I've got Monday off work as well. And I feel like I haven't had any days off. There's still shit to do all the time. The fact that I've been thinking about this a bit recently. Obviously, there's a few podcasts that I work on, a few shows. First Aid Spray, which I'm a part of. Gears Intel, Tapes from the Wastes. I contribute to Starfield Sandwich as well, which is kind of mine and Eric's Starfield podcast. That's very infrequent. What else? I do stuff with my Gears Intel buddies, David and Alex, on A Winner Is You. So I'm drafted into the draft episodes every now and again. There's some other podcast I might be guesting on soon, fairly regularly. I've got plans for a new podcast with a friend of mine. It's fucking stupid. I've been thinking that realistically, I'm not a content creator, right? It's not my job. I have a job. I have a real job. I do things like this show and my other shows because I love doing it, because I'm a fan of those things. As I've said on probably all of them, like, the reason I do the shows is because I don't necessarily have people in my real life to talk to regularly about it. I mean, I do have friends that like games and like gaming, but I don't know if I have any that get into the weeds in the same way with things like Gears of War and Fallout and Resident Evil. So that's what those podcasts are for. And I love that. And I love that outlet. And I love this Gaming Aroma just rambling off the top of my head. You know, like when they say, like, I have this thing with my son, like, if I don't like play fight with him like once a week, he gets really weird. He's obviously like a feisty young lad. If I don't help him burn off that energy, and this is not just like a boy thing, I think it's a kid thing. If I don't have a play fight with him, he starts to get annoying. If we have like a good play fighting session, he's good for like 3 or 4 days. He's chill. He does everything I ask. Yeah, so he's due a bit of a fight. So I might finish up this recording, go downstairs, and give him a good hiding. It's in the same way that if he doesn't burn out that energy, he gets a bit weird. If I don't just blurt out some of these random gaming stuff, things that's on my mind, I start to get a bit stressed out. So this is like a good little, I think I said it on the first episode, that this is a good just vent for me. Like that if I haven't had the opportunity to really talk about it, I do this. I feel less stressed. I feel less angry about this very serious subject known as video games. But yes, I'm here. I missed a week. I'm sorry. I'm back. I've got stuff going on in my life, as always. And it's annoying because I did kind of have a topic that I wanted to talk about last week, which was the Sony AI demo leak. And I've kind of I've stopped caring about it. The long and short of it is, I was going to talk about how Sony, there was that leaked demo of them using the AI Aloy character that's responding to like, voice questions and stuff. And I got lots of thoughts on it, but I just can't be bothered. But one of the things I was going to say, it was funny how the internet didn't collapse in the same way that when Microsoft, revealed their mood boarding tools, the internet had a meltdown. Sony has a leak of, now granted it's a leak, it's nothing official, so who knows what it means. and no one cared. No one cared about it. So, you know. But there's not a Sony bias, apparently. So I can't be bothered to talk about that. And then it's annoying because then it has now been a really slow news week in gaming. So I'm not really sure what I'm doing this episode for, to be honest. Fantasy Critic update. Let's start there. How's it going? So Assassin's Creed came out, and obviously, as I've been going on about the past few episodes, I've been really hoping for it to win big and win me some big points. I'm currently second in the table still. There's quite a big jump between first place is 41 points, or 41.37. Second place is 38.21. That's me. And the third place is 35.13. I'm still projected to finish second overall. So that's good. I'll be happy with that. I don't quite need that Hail Mary I was looking for. I also discovered between this episode and the last episode that you can drop a game. So our league manager, Rick, said, yeah, we did some like votes on ways we could adjust the rules so we could drop unreleased games or games that have been confirmed to not being coming out this year. So for example, I picked Fable, the new Fable, and that's confirmed as not coming out this year. And I would have dropped that game, but I'm unable to because it was counterpicked by another person. So they are... So I don't know how that works. I need to figure this out. I don't know if that means they get nothing and I get nothing for that. So it makes no sense that I can't drop it. But anyway, it is what it is. It is what it is. I hate that saying. But I did drop Judas, which is the new Ken Levine game, which was possibly due to come out this year, but now I've dropped it. So I now have 2 spaces to fill in my Fantasy Critic League. Just to recap, GTA 6, Civ 7, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Avowed, unannounced mainline 3D Mario platformer, which there's probably no hope for because it looks like the Mario Kart is the one that's coming out, Fable, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, and South of Midnight. So I've had 4 games that have scored: Civ 7, Avowed, AC Shadows, and Donkey Kong Returns. So I'm currently only second because I've probably had more games out. My average is not great. I have no 90s, have 80, 80, 82, and a 77. Now and then I look across the table, and a couple of other people have 90s. 3 people have 90s. So yeah, this is probably really boring to listen to, but like, just so the long and short of it is, I'm still second in a league table of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Assassin's Creed Shadows came out to decent scores, which got me the 82, my latest 82. So that's kept me in a strong, solid second. But I'm still loving Fantasy Critic. I need to fill my 2 gaps. I have no idea what I'm going to pick. The Astrobot, when it came out like 4 months after it got announced, and was also Game of the Year, officially Game of the Year. It wasn't my Game of the Year. I haven't played it. What do I know? So there is still a chance that the quote-unquote Game of the Year, and a very high-scoring game, is coming out this year that hasn't even been revealed yet. June is going to be interesting, so I'm definitely going to hold... I've got 2 spaces to fill. One of those, like, I'm considering going for that retro 2D Terminator game that I talked about on the last episode. I think that's going to be a safe bet. But then the last space, I think I'm going to keep open until June, wait and see what Sony and Xbox and everybody reveals, and if there's going to be a little surprise for everyone, because all the other known releases have been picked in my league. So yeah, but still loving Fantasy Critic. I will keep you posted. Video game news. I was scrolling through VGC like 5 minutes before I hit record. I'm telling you now, it is a dead period in video game news, and I don't know why. We've got some releases happening. There's big releases, and I think the crux of my episode is going to be Assassin's Creed Shadows, because I am playing it. I'm going to get to that in a bit. But news-wise, there's just nothing. Like, I'm looking through and there's a lot of VGC here is headlines off rumors, but you know, what else has changed there? The next Pokemon the card game Pocket set, like I don't care about that. 27 more games have joined the GOG preservation program. That's good. That is good. Devil May Cry and Dragon's Dogma directors says his new studio is working on a AAA title. Yeah, like I was having to think about it like yesterday. Like, what can I talk about on Gaming Aroma? It's been a quiet week for news, apart from a couple of things. So it's going to come off very Xbox centric. But so where the hell has this article gone? Well, this is annoying. Hold on, let me just search for it. Xbox GDC. Whoops. Steam. Those of you who are tuned into gaming news will have heard this. Here we go. Xbox shows Steam games on a mock-up of an Xbox OS/UI. So this is quite interesting. Kind of what I've talked about on the show before. Let's read this below. There has been an update to this article, which I will get to. And this is from Xbox Era. As part of their opening a billion doors GDC blog post, Xbox has included a Steam Games tab in their mock-up of an Xbox UI on various devices. Rumours have been swirling for a while that the next Xbox may be a PC that emulates past consoles and can natively play all of your PC library. That means Steam, Epic Games Store, GOG, and the rest all being natively playable on your Xbox quote-unquote console. In the blog post, VP of Global Partnerships of Xbox said a mock-up of the Xbox UI shows a Steam tab alongside installed owned Game Pass, owned again, question mark, and then various categories. The main text, it's got the main text, we don't need to read that. Now basically, so this image is, so it's an official Microsoft image that was released, and you can Google it. They've changed it since they took this down. Anyone who's used the Xbox Game app on PC, of which I'm a new user of, will see that it's kind of similar. It's got the similar sidebar, and then yeah, it's just got all your games as squares, and in the same way on your console where you can go to My Library, games, you know, games and owned, or whatever it is, Game Pass and owned, you can tab across to Ubisoft Plus and EA Play. It's kind of got the little tabs at the top, and one of them says Steam, and obviously it's been rumoured for a while that you're going to be able to launch Steam games on an Xbox. It all kind of makes sense that this is the way that Xbox is going. It is interesting that they took this down and changed it for an image that doesn't have it. Like, that's really weird. This is a huge company, a huge event, GDC, and you're telling me that a mock-up that include effectively a competitor game library tab on your mock-up went out without approval. And I do genuinely believe, like, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a conspiracy theorist for the most part. There's definitely some conspiracies I believe in. The Earth is not flat. That's before any of you start thinking I'm a mental case. At least I assume it's not. Choking on my coffee there. It's mad to me that this image went out. But as I said, if I put my tinfoil hat on, this is very, very possible. Very possible. It was done on purpose to litmus test, to see what the reaction is, to see what people think. They've already said it in the past. Like, Phil Spencer's been on podcasts and interviews where he said, like, he dreams of, I'm paraphrasing, but he talks about turning on his Xbox and being able to play every game in his library no matter what store it's from. You don't say that. You don't say that unless you're talking, like, Microsoft are known for talking bollocks sometimes, or U-turning. But you know, if you're Phil Spencer or somebody at that company, when you're going on a podcast or giving an interview, you know that every single word you say is going to be hung onto. And you don't really say stuff without reason. They're so media trained, and a lot of it is boring corporate speak, and it's why often there is little stuff of interest in these interviews. I remember when Phil Spencer did the Kind of Funny show after the Redfall bomb a couple of years ago. That was like the most candid I've ever seen him get, and you could tell a lot of that was off the cuff. And you know, he's in a senior position. He can handle himself in those interviews, and to some degree say what he wants. He's smart enough to know what's going to have an impact and what's not, and he catches himself a couple of times in that interview and says, I know I'm going to get blowback for this and this, that and the other. So he's not stupid. So when he says things like he dreams of an Xbox that plays all your games, it's because they're talking about it. It's because they've been thinking about it, and because he wants to see what the response is. And the response to that, for the most part, since he said those comments, has been largely positive. People get it. People realize that, you know, Microsoft, that's losing the hardware market share, is going a different route. It's going fully into the service route, and it doesn't mean Xbox as a brand or a platform is going to disappear. It just means that they're going in a different direction than their closest competitors, because they have no choice, because if they stuck to the old model, it would crumble and it would all fall apart and it'd be pointless. So they're putting themselves on your TVs, on your phones, pushing cloud a lot, and welcoming other libraries on their store. So they just want people engaging with their platform and their brand. And if you're buying other games on there through their store, they don't care. You know, this is the way it's been for a long time. I can subscribe to EA Play and Ubisoft Plus through my Xbox, in the same way that Amazon allow you to now subscribe to Apple TV and Paramount Plus through the Amazon Prime app. I have no idea what the agreements are with that and how much the respective companies take, but it's just what everyone is doing. Sony will come around to it at some point. Apple, who don't come around to it, like you can't go to Apple and, you know, buy the other things, but they're going to be forced to. They're drowning in, you know, lawyers, I suppose, that are trying to fend off the EU and tear down their walled garden. So it'll get there. It'll happen at some point, and it'll happen with Sony. But anyway, what was I saying? So this image that went out, I find it very hard to believe that it went out mistakenly. But then at the same time, you have to remind yourself that, again, there's just normal people working at these companies. There's sometimes the certain departments are very compartmentalized and kind of siloed because it is so big and there's no time to get everything approved. A manager at a department will just approve it and be like, oh yeah, no, we can get this out. It's fine. And then they get overruled when someone else sees it. I've been in situations so many times, both in my current job and my old jobs, where stuff goes out that was approved sort of internally, and then someone else sees it and they're like, no, get that down. So that could have happened. It's frightening to think that it happens at such a big and powerful company like Xbox and Microsoft, but hey, I'm more inclined to believe it was put out just to drum up interest, because they can use it to their advantage and see what people's reactions are and see what everyone thinks. It's, you know, free market research, if you like. And I think that's what they've done here, because the new image doesn't have it on, doesn't have the Steam thing on. It has the devices instead, which is, you know, a completely different image. The first one was way more focused on this mock-up UI. It had the devices, but yeah. And then it has, a laptop, a Steam Deck, or a ROG Ally, one of those gaming PC handhelds. Anyway, what do I think about it? I think it's awesome. And I say this as someone who's recently just bought a PC, which is really fucking annoying, because if suddenly I can access this Steam and Steam games on my Xbox next year or in 2 years' time, it doesn't negate the PC purchase. Like, I'm kind of being facetious, really, because I'm getting a lot out of the PC that isn't just the gaming, and I've talked about why I got the PC a couple of episodes ago. So what do I think? Yeah, it's great, because finally I'll be able to play the PlayStation exclusives. I can play them now. I can play them on my PC, but if I want to play them on my console, then I could just fire up Horizon, Spider-Man, whatever. What other PlayStation exclusives are there? Struggling to think. That's 2. Is there any more? Not really. But I was thinking about this, like, you know, I had the £500 and I chose to buy the PC and not a PS5 because to me there's nothing appealing about the PS5. Like, apart from, yes, some of those games look great, you can play them on PC now. I don't really want to play them on PC. I do want to play them on a console. But yeah, it would be really exciting to know that the Xbox, and you know, there's diehard Xbox fans that are like, oh, this is the death of the platform and stuff. It's just like, no, that's bollocks. This is the way they're going. It's the way they need to go, as I've said, to sustain themselves. And if it means that, like, the next Xbox console is the last bit of hardware that's kind of the classic console, that's sort of fine by me. As cloud becomes more prevalent, but then I don't know. It feels like there's always going to have to be a box or some piece of hardware. Everything, you know, there's still TVs, there's Amazon Fire Sticks. They're just shifting back to this notion that people just want everything in one place, and they're going to cater for that, and they have enough money to cater to it, to pump the money into Xbox and to change the model that they've been working to all these years. Xbox, I think, still has a strong brand name, no matter what people want to say. I think this idea that you need to sell 100 million units of your product to be a strong brand is nonsense. You can survive perfectly well within your, you know, certain industry or market, whatever, as a smaller entity that sells 1/3 of that. People bang on about the Steam Deck like it's the second coming of Christ. It's sold like 4 million units or something. Compare that to PS5. Like, people say, oh yeah, PC gaming and PC handheld gaming is the big thing now. It's what everyone's doing. Well, it's not what everyone's doing, because there's like 60 million PS5s, 30 million Xboxes, and 5 million handhelds. So yeah, the numbers don't lie. And yeah, Microsoft/Xbox can continue to be successful by just selling a few million. Clearly, it's just the weird optics thing. Like, everyone, yeah, as I say, people say Steam Deck's the greatest thing. Well, by the metrics that Sony want to pump out, Steam Deck may as well be a spit of, you know, mud on their shoe. I don't think, maybe Sony don't care about something like the Steam Deck. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. But, you know, I've got the PC. Xbox is my preferred place to play, sitting down, the plug and play nature of it. Even just trying to get some games going on my PC, like, I had a couple of issues already, and I've had it like a few weeks. You don't have issues on the console. So if there's a way that it can natively boot Steam games and other games, I'm all for that. I am intrigued to see where it goes and see how they handle this and see what the response is, because it's, you know, none of this is official. It feels like this is the way they're going. It's the way they've been going for a long time. I'm intrigued to see how PlayStation respond to it, how, you know, the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out this year, what's that going to do for optics and the way people look at consoles? And because we're assuming that Switch 2 is going to launch and there's going to be a bunch of Microsoft games coming out, you know, Xbox games coming out on it as well. Very interested to see where things are going, because there's weird framing of it all online that, you know, again, the Xbox is dead and this is the dead, you know, they are effectively killing off this, and it just, I don't really understand. Like, things need to change. Things need to change to survive, and I think they're going to be just fine. Is that, what's the word? Is that cope? Is that me coping? That's what the children say, right? Coping about Xbox. What else? Sort of keep it on Xbox. Phil Spencer says more movies and TV shows based on Xbox games are on the way. Xbox is learning with each production it works on, Spencer says. A Minecraft movie is set to debut in theatres on April the 4th with Jack Black appearing alongside Jason Momoa, Daniela Brooks, Emma Myers and Sebastian, whoever, blah, 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 blah. Speaking to Variety ahead of the movie's launch, Spencer commented on Hollywood's recent interest in video game properties, with movies like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy among the most successful examples. Spencer says Xbox is still learning and growing through the process of adapting its games to film and TV, embracing the Hollywood spirit of trial and error. We learned from doing Halo. We learned from doing Fallout. So all of these build on themselves, Spencer said in the interview. Obviously, we'll have a couple that miss, but what I'd say to the Xbox community that likes this work is you're going to see more because we're gaining confidence and we're learning through this. Yeah. I've not seen the Halo series. I've seen enough of it clips wise to know that it looks distinctly average, and obviously I got a lot of trusted opinions that I've heard from people that I understand it is distinctly average. The fact that Halo, but perception wise it bombed, that TV show bombed, and the fact that it did bomb, that is, the mismanagement on that is unforgivable. And it's really weird that we came to that, because there was always, like, for years, rumours of a Halo movie and Halo TV series, and then you finally get it, and it's such a wet fucking fart of nothing. Yeah, I feel really bad for hardcore Halo fans who waited for that, and that's what they got. But it is nice to see that the perception, I'll say that word again, of the potential quality of a video game adaptation is completely shifting and changing, and that is something because of recent years. As Phil Spencer mentioned, Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy. I thought the Sonic movies 1 and 2 were kind of very weak. They got better as they went on. 3, I thought, was a really, really good Sonic movie, a good family movie, really well put together. Sonic is almost the worst thing about it, all of those films, which is ironic. It's a really dumbed down version of the character. Way, way, way super child friendly. Super Mario Brothers, the most dumb, superficial plot ever, but you could tell it was made with care, and it looked gorgeous, and the music, the soundtrack and stuff, they did a solid job there, and people got a lot out of it. My kid and I both love Super Mario Brothers movie. And then obviously we've got things like The Last of Us, which is HBO, and the creator of the franchise is involved, and it's so much care and attention. And then we got Fallout again, which the creator of not the creator of the franchise, but the current steward of the franchise, who's been the steward for 20 years, Todd Howard, was heavily involved. And then it's not just about having those people who are involved with the games involved in the making of the TV shows and movies. I don't know if anyone involved with Halo, the games, was involved with the TV show, but whatever. Because it's not just that. That's half of it. Not half. That's a small part of it. The other part is having good talent and money. You have to pump money into these productions, and you have to have talent. Last of Us had Craig Mazin, the Chernobyl guy. I'm not imagining that, right? Is that right? Let's fact check myself live. Last of Us TV series. Yeah, Craig Mazin. Yeah, and he did Chernobyl, which is a fantastic TV show. So it's talent. It's getting talent involved. And then Fallout was Jonathan Nolan, who did Westworld, and is the brother of is he the brother of Christopher Nolan, right? So you're just automatically getting talented genes right there. This makes a difference. You can, and in the past, I think video game stuff has previously been farmed off to lower rung directors. And then, the new Resident Evil movie has been officially announced. It's coming out like just over a year's time. And the director of that has a very, very small filmography, is an previously indie director. And I feel like, again, it's just Constantine and Sony Pictures not taking, or, Sony Pictures less so. It's more Constantine that handles the Resident Evil film stuff. It's just them not taking it seriously, not wanting to spend money. They're just wanting to do what they did with the dumbass popcorn Paul W.S. Anderson films and spend not a great deal of money, but rake in loads back. They want to maximize. Everyone wants to maximize profit. But in this world now where we're sort of more in the golden age of TV, the streamers are losing money on the TV shows, but I don't know that this idea of them being made as sort of lost leaders seems to be working well for them. But in terms of boosting the IP and making good product, you just have to pay for it. You have to put money into it. You have to hire good talent and people who care. So getting the franchise stewards involved, getting good talent, good directors, good casting, and pumping money to give you realistic sets, tangible, locations, costumes, good actors as well. You have to take it seriously. And in the past, video game adaptations were never taken seriously. They are starting to be taken more seriously, so it's cool to hear Phil Spencer say that they'll be doing more. I know Sony is massively leading into it, and they've not had all good stuff. They've done the Uncharted movie, they've done the Gran Turismo movie, that came and went. I mean, I don't remember anyone saying that was incredible. So there's going to be hits and misses, but there's like Horizon stuff in development, a God of War TV show at Amazon, right? Which I think has... Did I read right that there's 2 seasons of that approved already? Greenlit already? But yeah, as long as you've got good talent involved, you can come out with something good. So I like that we're living in this time now where video game adaptations are an exciting thing. I'd like to say that I am concerned about the new Resident Evil 1 because I just don't trust Constantine to do right by the franchise. And then also the Gears of War one, which was announced by Netflix, they 2 years ago now, and we've had nothing. We've had the writer's strike and stuff, which has definitely slowed down development on that. What's that new film that Netflix just spunked loads of money on with Chris Pratt and what's her face from Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown, who's not insufferable at all these days. What was that called? The Electric State. There we go. I just looked it up. Which has been panned, but it's apparently doing well on Netflix, their number 1 movie. Now, I'm dubious of things like that when Netflix say it's their most watched movie, number 1 movie. But then again, at the same time, so many people have Netflix and they will just put it on because most people that have Netflix do not read reviews online. They'll just soak up whatever's pumped in front of them. So I can fully believe that a thumbnail which shows Chris Pratt and the girl from Stranger Things gets shoved in front of most Netflix subscribers. They'll watch the movie. But Netflix have spent a lot of money on this film. Is it the Russo brothers as well? Yeah, the Avengers, the Marvel guys, right? $320 million budget, apparently. Holy shit. But they announced the Gears of War stuff. Like, are they going to take it seriously? Are they going to pump the right money on? This is sci-fi heavy stuff. Or is it just going to be, style over substance, I guess. It's going to look nice, but just have zero depth. And I am worried because Netflix don't generally make good movies. They probably made, 1,000 movies, and 3 of them are probably genuinely, authentically, sincerely, widely praised. I might be exaggerating, but it's not many. They do better TV shows. We're in the golden age of TV, as I said. Excuse me. So I'm excited that the opinions are shifting on video game adaptations, but I still am wary. I'm wary because the level of quality across the board from these different platform holders and the people that are producing these now, it's such a range that, yeah, you kind of still don't know what you're going to get. Anyway, that's kind of it for news, to be honest. As I said, there isn't a great deal this week, so we'll quickly talk about what I'm playing. My bullet points for last week where I didn't record, what I've been playing: Citizen Sleeper, which I finished, started Citizen Sleeper 2 on the PC as well. My first ever Steam purchase ever was Carmageddon, so I got to relive this game that I was playing nearly 30 years ago on my PC. Crazy kind of sort of arcade racer where you gain time by running people over. I just got lots of nostalgia playing that. Absolutely sick game. Mullet Mad Jack came to Xbox Game Pass, played that for a bit. Was playing a lot of Starfield as well. But then, as I've alluded to earlier in this episode, it was the release week for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, primer on my experience with Assassin's Creed. Played the first one, never finished it. I think I've played a little bit of the second one. Played most of Black Flag. Played some of the mobile games that there was. Played Origins. Finished it. Odyssey. Played it for quite a while. Valhalla. Played it for like 2 hours. I am a peripheral player of Assassin's Creed. There is so much of it out there. I think generally the games are quite good, but obviously they are bloated. Assassin's Creed Origins is my favourite by far. I've played that game from start to finish 3 times, which is insane when you consider how big it is. The whole setting and stuff. And that Origins was the first one. This is the one set in Egypt where they kind of started to switch things up a bit. And went more towards this new format. Oh, I also played Mirage as well, which I played last year. I think I talked about that on this show. Varying degrees of liking these games. I think the first one is really cool. Origins I love. Odyssey just felt more of the same. Valhalla just felt, I didn't even know what was going on in Valhalla. It was just too much all at once, so I just bounced off of that one really quickly. Mirage, I really enjoyed the slightly stripped back nature of it, the more return to original format. I thought Mirage was solid. Shadows has obviously been under scrutiny for a long time, since before it came out. I'm not going to talk about any of the dumbass controversy that's online about it. Couldn't care less. The game itself, I was never interested in, because my excitement for Assassin's Creed has waned since Origins, like I've kind of said. I never had any intention of playing this game. Never. But as time has gone on, the more I've seen of the game, the more I've kind of thought, oh, that doesn't look too bad. Oh, that looks quite good. Actually, this looks pretty sick. And, you know, there's this whole stuff in the background about Ubisoft struggling to make money these days, and they need a big win, and there was a lot of riding on this release for them financially. And I don't even know, I think as a side note, even the positive nature of this release may not be helping them as much as they need it to. But anyway, the game, the more I saw of it, I thought, this looks good. And then a while ago, the previews came out. Now, before the previews came out, I picked Assassin's Creed Shadows for my Fantasy Critic, because I just had that, my gut is pretty good. I think these days, most people who are experienced with gaming and stuff, you don't need to see much of a game to get a initial sense that if it's going to be something that, one, you would enjoy, or two, you and other people would enjoy, or if it's going to have broad appeal. The more I saw of it, the more I thought it was going to have massively broad appeal. Assassin's Creed is huge, and I think the switch up, moving to Japan and stuff, was definitely going to pique people's interest. And you imagine it, me as a gamer, talking about gaming on a podcast as well, and a lot of my gaming buddies, we're hardcore gamers. We know, we're well tuned into stuff, and we know what's coming. I often think about just the person, everyday Joe Blogs, Jane Smith, whatever their name is, browsing the digital store, or, you know, if they're fortunate enough to be out in a place that sells physical copies of games, or, you know, grandma who's out in the shop looking for a gift for young Timmy, they see the case on the shelf, the name Assassin's Creed, they know what it is, and they see it's a big new release. They just buy it because they know that this is a game that's going to have high production value, and these are why these big games sell. Quality, you know, is up for debate, but I think Assassin's Creed has massively strong brand name, and I think mums and dads will be buying it for their kids, and yeah, whatever. So I sort of had a gut feeling that it was always going to do well. And then the more I saw of it, the more I thought, yes, it's going to do really well. Then the previews came out, and all of the previews were positive. Yeah, it's a lot of streamlining, a lot of the bloat trimming. But there's interesting setting, good characters, and all this. So out comes the game this past week. Solid reviews across the board. Now, just quickly, most of the reviews, most of them are 8s to 10s. There's a lot of 8.5s, there's a lot of 9s, there's a lot of 9.5s, there's some 10s, 4 out of 5s, 5 out of 5s. But obviously we live in this world where aggregate scores, OpenCritic, Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, will show you the aggregate score. It's very, very easy for a very small website or a non-entity to, or even a big, to be honest, even a big website to become an official critic and get their score counted on these aggregate sites. There are some websites out there, right? Okay, before I get to that, so I've got Assassin's Creed. I subscribed to Ubisoft Plus for a month. I used my Microsoft reward points, which was £10, so I paid a £5, and I've got the game for a month. I am like 12 hours in. Long and short of it, I think it's pretty fantastic so far, and I'll get to why I think that in a minute. But so knowing what I know about the game in terms of what I've seen other reviewers talk about, and having played it for a bunch myself now, there are some websites, some outlets out there that are giving this game 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. This is insanity. This is insanity. I have said on this show before, what is the fucking point of review scores anymore? This is nonsense. If you don't like the game because it's not your cup of tea, fine. To be skewing, you know, in this delicate age we live in of studio closers and devs are punished or rewarded based on review scores, it's kind of frightening that these voices have weight out there, because it's such nonsense. If you don't like Assassin's Creed and what it offers, fine. To give it a 5 out of 10 would, on the broad scale that everyone unfortunately pays attention to, implies that there's something horrendously wrong about it. There's nothing wrong with this game. It's very well made, high production value, cinematic, you know, there's no huge bugs, you know, there's nothing broken about it. So you can't give it a 5 out of 10. I mean, you can, but it's kind of dangerous and frightening, as I say. Dangerous and frightening is maybe a bit extreme way to put it, but that these websites and these reviewers, these YouTube channels, whatever, they have weight on the aggregate scores and they will bring it down. Assassin's Creed Shadows is currently sitting at an 81, 2. Let me quickly check. Assassin's Creed Shadows OpenCritic. Where the hell is it? Why is this site so difficult to use? 82. Yeah. So here's all the top scores here. Yeah. Mostly 8s and aboves. Currently sitting at 82. Knowing what I know, knowing my broad view on everything, I feel like that's harsh. It definitely deserves at least 2 or 3 points higher than that. But it gets brought down. It gets brought down by these nobodies. And now there's definitely, you know, I think OpenCritic and Metacritic, they do assign a certain amount of weight to the sites based on their, review numbers and, their notoriety and stuff like this. So it's not like 5 out of 10 can hugely bring it down. But when a few of them all come together, it's like a big entity giving it a 5 out of 10, and it can damage it. So I think it's pretty harsh to be sitting at that. And it just really annoys me that these people have these voices have so much power. I mean, it doesn't annoy me, but like I say, it just struck a chord with me this week because, people are never happy. What do people want? Because it's a competently made game with so much to do that's going to keep you entertained. It's people. If this game came out 10 years ago, it'd be 10 out of 10's game of the year, left, right, and center. So it's just really, really stupid and annoying to see some of those scores out there like that. Because I'm playing it, as I said, I am shocked at how much I'm enjoying it. It definitely feels less bloated. This is not like a deep dive into my experience with it, but from what I understand, if you mainline the main game, it's like 25 to 30 hours. So that's good. Not the 70 hours of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's not like the combat is simple. Like, it's not a difficult game, but it's kind of the setting, and funny enough, the story is hooking me so much that it's really complementing what I'm doing as the characters with the gameplay and the sort of classic bits of Assassin's Creed, sneaking up, and there's a lot of stealth driven stuff. There's 2 characters. I've mostly been playing as the more stealth driven character. It feels there's a lot of customization options for difficulty and how you want the game to work, whether you want it to guide you to places, whether you want to do it yourself, whether assassinations are insta kills, whether they're not. And there's all this stuff you can play with to kind of make the experience what you want it to be. And my God, I'm loving it. This feels closer to something like Red Dead Redemption than it does previous Assassin's Creeds. It feels like it's been very lovingly made. And it's nice to play a AAA game that feels AAA, because we get a lot of subpar big releases coming out. I can't fault it. I've got to play it through. I've got to finish it. But so far, swinging around, shanking people with a hidden blade, playing as Yasuke is the big dude, and he's, less of a stealth character, shall we say. It's funny. There's some fun. It's so sincere, the story, and it's heartbreaking. Once you finish the prologue, it's sad. There's good stuff in there, but then also just kind of having fun with it and just destroying people. The game doesn't punish you too much. Like if you get spotted, you can take out a few people and then you're back to your stealth again. So, I'm really having a great time with Assassin's Creed. I'm very pleased to see that because I know a lot of people worked on this game, and I know a lot of the people that worked on this game are very passionate about it and very pleased with what they've put out, and it's good to see. I just saw this morning that it's hit 2 million players. Now, as a metric for Ubisoft, I don't know if that's good or bad. I feel like maybe they would have liked a few more than that, but just in the grand scheme and with the way stuff works these days. But I'm really having a great time with Assassin's Creed Shadows. It is an RPG, but it just feels more it feels more video gamey than an RPG. I know that's a really stupid phrase to say. There are a lot of skill trees and a lot of stuff. I'm playing it in something called canon mode, which takes out all the dialogue options as well, which I quite enjoy. So it makes it a bit more linear. Like just something like that's really cool and just makes it kind of easier experience. It feels less of an RPG and just feels more like an action game, but really good story. I'm getting the feelings closer to what I had with Origins with this, and I really, really loved Origins. It's definitely, that might be in my top 10 games ever, to be honest, which is really weird to think. Maybe not top 10, definitely top 20. But yeah, I'm going to keep playing it, and once I finish it in the next month or so, well, I've got to finish it before my Ubisoft Plus runs out. because I don't want to pay that again. But like, if I end up really loving this game, I'll do what I did with Origins, which is, I think I played Origins when it was on Game Pass, possibly. I can't remember. Did I buy it? Maybe I bought it when it was on sale. These games go on sale pretty quickly. Play it on Ubisoft Plus. In a couple of years, if I really loved it, I'll just buy it for 15 quid. So, and add it to the collection. But yes, really glad to see Assassin's Creed doing well, not just for my own enjoyment for playing it, but for my fantasy critic too. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. So please come and join me on Blue Sky. Follow me on Blue Sky. You can get more ramblings from me on there. Let me know what you think of Assassin's Creed. Let me know what you're playing. And yeah, I'll be pumping out some other shows soon. We recently just put out an episode of Tapes from the Wastes. We got another one we're recording next weekend to talk about the Ghoul update from Fallout 76. I've recorded a new segment for Starfield Sandwich. Eric's putting that episode together. So yeah, if you're not sick of my voice yet, you can find me in lots of places. So do come and check out the other shows. And thank you as always for listening. Yes, rate the podcast on Spotify, Apple, whatever you're listening to it on, please. And I will be back again as soon as I can be bothered. Thanks as always. Take care. Bye.